Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Mahalia Joseph and C News is live at noon.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, teachers are feeling helpless when it comes to dealing with students who are acting out in schools. President of the representing Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Lindsley Dudai, said just this morning he was informed of a stabbing incident at a school in South Trinidad,
where a student was stabbed a few days ago and one of the students is in hospital, and she was expressing that same feeling of helplessness, hopelessness in terms of dealing with the situation. What she was also telling me was that in many instances the teachers are not satisfied with the way the problems of violence and indiscipline is dealt with at the school level. In some instances, teachers are saying it has been trivialized, it has been swept under the carpet, and it is not being dealt with in a forthright manner.
He said some of the school principals are also being pressured by school supervisors when it comes to the issuing of suspension.
They are being asked in some instances to rescind the suspension. So the issue of violence and indiscipline in school, the ministry has said that they are going to take a zero tolerance approach to it, but that is not what is coming to us in TTUTA in terms of that actually happening.
Princestown MP Barry Padarath is today supporting the call from the PTA of Santa Rita Roman Catholic Primary School for the immediate removal of Education Minister Anthony Garcia from his portfolio. Padarath said the minister's comments surrounding the allegation of deviant and violent behavior exhibited by a primary school student towards his peers and teachers demonstrated that the minister was out of touch with the reality that exists in schools among the nation's children. The MP indicated that a pattern was developing with Minister Garcia where he was making pronouncements of innocence regarding several instances of school violence without having the facts before him. He accused Minister Garcia of covering up the reality of escalating school violence by chalking it up to rough play. The Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association says the minister must be careful when commenting on some issues and should wait until he gets the facts. However, TTUTA does not think he should be removed as minister at this time and noted will ask for such if or when required.
The issue at the Santa Rita School, while we cast doubts about whether this was really happening, his chief education officer soon after would have indicated that he is aware of the incident and of the matter and the ministry is dealing with the matter. So I think Mr. Garcia needs to be careful about the information that he is getting, and he must be careful about the fact that that he is getting the right information.
Disgruntled law students will be meeting with officials from the University of the West Indies today to plan a way forward. And this comes after a protest on Monday by students who said they are not willing to move to the Day Bay Law facility as there are many issues which need to be addressed. Among them, a lack of health services, sporting facilities and security.
We were told that Day Bay is now becoming a hotspot, a crime hotspot. In addition to this, on the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, we already have increased incidences of crime. Students are robbed almost daily, around and even on campus. So if the university cannot maintain proper securities on their already established campus, how are they going to do this on a new campus?
Ms. Charles went on to speak about lack of accommodation and transportation. Some 300 students are in the department with only accommodation for 100.
Students, we have about 80 regional students, which means 80 spaces are already taken away. So you have 20 spaces remaining for whoever needs it. And then everyone else, well, you kind of just have to fight for yourself.
One person is dead and 3 others in critical condition following an accident in Chaguanas on Wednesday night. The victim has been identified as 22-year-old Rochelle St. Louis. St. Louis is believed to have been 1 month pregnant. According to reports, the incident occurred at Factory Road, Chaguanas, in which one car crashed head-on into another. This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. The man shot and killed near the Courts Bar on Railway Road in Chaguanas has been identified as Christopher Khan. Reports say at around 10 o'clock last night he was sitting outside the building when he was approached by a man who shot him several times. He died at the scene. Chaguanas Mayor Gopal Budan said fighting crime has been a challenge in recent time, but it remains a top priority in the borough.
Couple of months you would have seen some levels of escalation in crime in the borough of Chaguanas, and this is worrisome to us, and we have continued to work with all the stakeholders, all the agencies, the police and all the other security agencies to work as hard as we can to have that minimize that effect of crime in our community.
Police are investigating a shooting incident in Gonzales which took place just after 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Matthew Algernon was shot and killed while in the vicinity of St. Andrews Lane. The Member of Parliament for Couva South, Rudranath Indar Singh, is blaming the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and his government for the death of another young person, as he said the government has failed to arrest the spiraling out of control crime situation since September 2015. In a statement following the discovery of the body of Jesse Bipan, Mr. Indar Singh said, yet another young citizen's life has been violently snuffed out at the hands of criminals, and we will never learn the true potential of young Jesse and the positive contribution that he could have made to Trinidad and Tobago. He said the Rowley-led administration has been engaged in an exercise of public relations through bringing legislation to the Parliament to deal with the backlog of cases in the judicial system of the country, but has failed to send a strong and decisive message to gangs and criminals. Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries Clarence Rambarat has given the assurance that he is working round the clock with Amory Brown, the ambassador in Brazil, to get first-hand information about actions being taken by the government there to restore integrity to Brazilian meat exports. Now for the weather, generally hot, sunny and at times breezy conditions can be expected despite the odd light to moderate shower, mainly during the afternoon. Tonight will be clear and cool. The country will soon find out what action will be taken by the labor movement against the government's decision to shut down several state-run enterprises. Last week, the Joint Trade Union Movement, the National Trade Union Center, and the Federation of Independent Trade Unions and Non-Governmental Organizations came together and said government has failed to consult with them on several matters, including the decision to dissolve the Tourism Development Company. This morning, C News was told action will be taken against the government soon.
Validating our forces, we are having meetings with our memberships, we are advising them of all the issues, to sensitize them, to educate them, and then in that context, we will determine when is the appropriate time to move forward.
The government has continuously said it has to cut costs because the country does not have the kind of money it once had. Mr. Anisette has some questions for the government.
For all the social partners to come together to craft out a way forward, to determine what kind of sacrifices that the various social partners have to make. Is it that because there's no money that you have the absolute right to make decisions that affect us without any discussions? I will want to think that in the context of when you have problems, that is when you seriously engage the social partners in order to have resolution to the problem. The problem cannot be solved by the government alone.
Local contractors are viewing plans to revitalize the construction sector with great optimism. On Tuesday, the Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, said that work will restart on the Point Fortin Highway in April, and tenders have been sent out for the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway extension to Manzanilla. Marie-Therese Bernard has more.
The announcement on Tuesday by the Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, for the strengthening of construction works in the economy is good news for President of the Contractors Association, Mikey Joseph.
Well, I listened to Mr. Sinanan's articulation of the many projects and all that they're going to send out. And it seems plausible, seems very, very good. However, there's one, I hope that these projects are not going to be coming out like a flood to overheat the industry without giving people time to again build capacity and execute these projects in a meaningful way. Because I hope there wouldn't be a rush to try to get things done before the next general election.
The association says invigorating the industry will require financing of projects, and as such, builders will need to go to banks. This might prove problematic.
The continued non-payment to contractors will make it very difficult for some contractors to respond with the level of efficiency, because the banks and other financial institutions are viewing contractors as high risk and government contracts in particular as dangerous risk. So finding finance for construction projects, it would be more challenging at this time. So what government should be thinking about doing right now is making payment to contractors.
Notwithstanding that, Mr. Joseph says that this new stimulus will help construction firms to rally forward.
It will allow people to maintain their staff, because just to attend on a project, you can't fire everybody or lay off everybody. Whether you have money to pay them or not, you have to find a way to retain your staff, right? And that is a cost. But if you now have work that could actively engage them, that cost will now have a relative asset at which it will be applied. You now have the expenditure and you now have the asset that balances that.
Mary-Therese Bernard, C News.
A call for more focus to be put into the agriculture industry, as is done for Carnival. Dr. Linda Wickham, Deputy Dean of Outreach and Internationalization, said help can be given to the Ministry of Agriculture on this, as she and her team have started creating food products with locally grown produce.
We are at a time in our country and the economy where we all know that with the little problems we're having now in the petroleum sector, we need to diversify.
Imported food, and while she said some products cannot be supplied on a national scale, but like banana flour, it can help.
Can't supply the population of Trinidad and Tobago with any one of these.
Well, of course not, yeah.
Because you will have to plant it even on the rooftops, because we use a lot of wheat and a lot of imported corn.
Yeah.
But if you come to the expo, you'll have a better idea as to what we can do with it. And I tell you this, you can make with any of these flours, anything you can make with wheat, with some modification.
And now we have Nasir Mohammed, who is going to tell us what's happening in sport, and I know it's something happening with the Red Force, Nasira.
That's correct, Mahalia. Paying attention to the news today, and we have some changes in the Red Force lineup that will battle the Jamaica Scorpions from tomorrow at the Queen's Park Oval. The UCI-sanctioned Easter Grand Prix was launched with some big announcements, one of which is that one day of cycling will be hosted at the Cycling Velodrome in Couva. The first 2 days, on the Friday and Saturday, spectators will head to Arima to see battles between both local and international riders on the concrete before they hit the boards in Couva on Easter Monday.
The CEO of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago praised the Cycling Federation for being exemplars in sports administration in Trinidad and Tobago, and urged other national sporting bodies to emulate the good governance, for which they were rewarded this Jeffrey Stallmeyer Award at the recent First Citizen Sports Award.
And wishing you the best of luck, and ensuring that you know and you understand that we are here to support you, as well as all of the other NGBs that are under our portfolio. And we look to the model of success that the Federation brings to sporting in Trinidad and Tobago to be emulated across the industry.
TTCF's president spoke of the vision of the Federation to evolve the event from its roots in Arima and ensure it's a mainstay in the local sporting calendar, as well as a sought-after event on the international cycling schedule.
This, I could tell you, created great interest with international cyclists. When we put out that we were having one day at the center, we got numerous requests from international athletes to be here. Actually, the US team is coming with a team, I think about close to 10 or 12 athletes that are going to be coming even before time to do training and, experience the center.
The event will see 2 complete days of competition at the event home in Arima, before moving to the spanking new international standard venue in Couva, with cyclists participating from the UK, Colombia, USA, Argentina, the Caribbean, and of course the host nation.
Therefore, on the 14th and 15th of April, when cyclists speed around the Arima Velodrome from 5 p.m. on both days, fans can also be expected to be thrilled when the exciting Karen and Scratch events take center stage with all of the other regional and normal category events. After one day's rest, the action switches gear to the sprints, omnium and 500-meter time trial at the National Cycling Center on the 17th of April with 2 sessions at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m.
And that's it for sport for today.
And that's how we end the C News Report at noon. I'm Mahalia Joseph.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.